大家好，我是菲菲老师。Welcome back to Mifi Chinese. Today we'll continue the part 2 of lesson 7. Okay, as usual, let's start with the third text of this lesson. Let's read it together. 你篮球打得怎么样？打得还可以。跑步呢？你跑得快不快？我跑得不快，也不太喜欢跑步。那你喜欢游泳吗？喜欢，但我游泳游得不快。Okay, so 2 questions. First, 安妮打篮球打得怎么样？ A. 很好 B. 不好 C. 还可以 Okay, number 2. 安妮喜欢做什么？ A. 游泳 B. 跑步 C. 踢球 Okay, let's go back to the text again and you can make your choices this time. Okay, 你篮球打得怎么样？打得还可以。跑步呢？你跑得快不快？我跑得不快，也不太喜欢跑步。那你喜欢游泳吗？喜欢，但我游泳游得不快。Okay, so let's see. First one, 安妮打篮球打得怎么样？ Here, the, right? Remember? The after the verb plus how is this action go? So 怎么样 how is it? Right? So 安妮打篮球打得还可以。C 还可以。What is 还可以？ Not bad, not so bad, right? It's not good, but it's not so bad. 还可以。And then 安妮喜欢做什么？ What does she like to do? 你喜欢游泳吗？游泳 the new word that we will learn in this lesson. 喜欢 right? She likes to A 游泳。Okay, so we choose C and A. Did you get it all right? Okay, so let's see the new words of this lesson. You can read after me. 跑步，跑步，游泳，游泳，游，游。Okay, let's explain them in detail. The very first 跑步, probably you see this before. 跑步, it means to run. So let's review a little bit. What about to walk? Do you still remember how do we say to walk? 走 Okay, 走 right? 走 which is to walk. Yes, 走 to walk. And then to 跑 to run, right? Okay, 姐姐喜欢跑步。姐姐 likes to run. 姐姐喜欢跑步。我每天早上都在学校跑步。都在 Every morning I run in the school. Right? Every morning. Okay, and then next one, 游 Okay, it is to swim. 游 to swim. For example, 哥哥喜欢游泳. Here we say 游泳. Let's finish this and then we talk about what's the difference, right? Because you can see both of these. The translation is the same. It's 游泳. So it's, swim. So what's the difference? Right, first, 哥哥喜欢游泳，他游得很快 fast. Right, so he can, 哥哥 my older brother, my brother likes to swim and he can swim really fast. 小鱼在水里游。小鱼 is what? 鱼 remember? 鱼 fish, right? Fish. 小鱼 little fish 在水里游。Little fish swim in the water. Okay, so this is 游. Then next one, 游泳. 游泳. Let's talk about the difference between 游 and 游泳. So here, actually, even if the English translation are all to swim, but 游 is a more general concept of swimming. It's talking about the general movement, the action of swimming. So you can say that the little fish is swimming in the sea. But here, 游泳, it's more emphasizing the sport that human beings do. For example, you can say 你喜欢游泳吗? It's talking about do you like the sport of swimming? So if you change this sentence into 你喜欢游吗? Do you like to swim? Even if the English is the same, but if you say it in Chinese, what we hear is, do you like the action of swimming? You're talking about a single action, so it sounds weird. But if you change it into 游泳, then it's much more natural, which means the sport of swimming. So that's why also here we say 小鱼在水里游. We don't say 小鱼在水里游泳. That is kind of weird because you're saying that a fish is swimming in the water like a human, right? Because we say 游泳 is what humans do. Okay, so that is the difference between 游 and 游泳. Okay, good. Now let's see the grammar point of this lesson. It's called complement of state. We have learned a lot about complements, right? It means to describe how an action is done, right? To tell you the result of how the action. So the definition is in sentences with a complement of state, if the verb is a separable verb, the verbal morpheme needs to be repeated. So here, what is morpheme? It's more like a linguistic concept. So here, you can just understand it as 汉字. 汉字. So the verbal 汉字 needs to be repeated. If the verb takes an object, the object can be placed before the verb or the verb can be repeated. Okay, I know it's very confusing, right? It has a lot of situations. So let's see them. First, let's see the first situation. If the verb is a separable verb. Okay, let's talk about this first. The verbal 汉字 needs to be repeated. So let's see. Here, 游泳, separable verb, 游泳. And then the verbal morpheme, which is 游 here, right? We just learned 游 means to swim. So this 汉字游 needs to be repeated. So here, 游 is repeated. 我游泳游得不快. Let's see another example. You can also say, for example, let's see. You can say 吃饭, right? 吃饭. 我吃饭吃得不快. Right here, you repeat 吃 again, because 吃饭 is a separable verb. 我吃饭吃得不快. Sorry, here it should be this 的. If you don't repeat 吃, you say 我吃饭得不快, then this sentence is wrong. People don't understand. So you have to say 我吃饭吃得不快. Okay, and then let's see. 你篮球打得怎么样? So here, actually, the verb is 打篮球, right? So it's the second situation here. If the verb takes an object, which is 篮球, right? 打篮球, the object can be placed before the verb. So here, it's the second situation, before the verb. So you say 你篮球打得怎么样? Right? 你篮球打得怎么样? We can also say, for example, you can say 踢足球, right? We learned 踢足球, play football. So 你足球踢得怎么样? Right? Now let's see the third situation. If the verb takes an object, the verb can be repeated. So 白嘉悦写汉字. Here again, the verb takes an object, right? The object is 汉字. 写汉字写得很好看. The verb 写 is repeated. 写汉字. You can also say 你打篮球打得怎么样, right? Or 你踢足球踢得怎么样? So these are the three situations of how we use complement of state. Okay, let's do another exercise while it's still fresh in your mind, right? Okay, so this one is, please choose the grammatically correct option, A or B, right? I have 4 questions each, and and each of them has either A or B. So you have to decide either A or B are correct. Right, so now you can pause the video and you can make your choices. After you got your answer, you resume and then let's talk about it together. Right? Okay, now let's see it. First one, 他打篮球的很好 or 他打篮球打得很好 Which one? Should be B, right? This is exactly we talked about earlier. 打篮球 the verb which takes an object. Here, object is 篮球. So you can repeat the verb. So 打篮球打得很好. You have to repeat 打得很好. Here is the one that you don't have 打, you don't repeat it, so it sounds unnatural. Okay, second one. 我跑步跑得不快. And then 我跑步得不快. Which one? Yes, should be A, right? 跑步 separable verb, you have to repeat the verb. 我跑步跑得不快. Third one, 妹妹游泳游得怎么样 or 妹妹游泳得怎么样 So again, this is a separable verb. So you say 妹妹游泳游得怎么样 You repeat the verb again, right? So we should choose A. And then fourth one, 汉字他写得很好看 or 他写汉字的很好看 Which one? Which one? Should be A. Right? Should be A. Because this is an verb which is taking an object. Object is which? Object is 汉字. So you can put the noun, the object before, right? So actually earlier, the example we were using, we were putting it after the person who was doing it. So 他汉字写得很好看, right? It was the example earlier. But actually, you could also place it even before the person. 汉字他写得很好看，很好看。So, what's the difference? What's the difference between these one? 他汉字写得很好看 or 汉字他写得很好看 Both of these are correct. The only difference is if you put 汉字 even before the person, you are furthermore emphasizing. So you're saying 汉字他写得很好看 nothing else, just 汉字 You're not talking about numbers, not English alphabets. You're talking about 汉字 which he writes very well. Right? So whichever part you put it in the beginning, as long as it's grammatically correct, you can put it in the very beginning and you are furthermore emphasizing that. Right? So this is applicable not only to this example, but also other sentences. Right? For example, let me give you another example. 我昨天去买菜了。我昨天去买菜了 How do we understand 我昨天去买菜了 I went to do grocery yesterday, right? But if you put 昨天我去买菜了 right? If you say like this, if you put 昨天 in even before who does it, because normally we put who does it in the beginning, right? But if you put it even before who does it, you are furthermore emphasizing it is exactly 昨天 that I did it. Not today, not tomorrow, but yesterday, right? Okay, so this is one example of the exercises in my HSK workbook. If you would like to practice more like this, you can get the copy in my description below. Okay, so let's continue. The fourth text of this lesson, let's read it together. 我的爱好是运动。从上小学开始，我每天都跟爸爸去运动。现在我篮球打得很好，足球也踢得不错，游泳游得也很快。我一有时间就去运动。 Okay, let's see. First one, 陈天中非常喜欢运动。Second one, 陈天中游泳游得不快。Okay, not so hard, these two, right? Very short. So let's listen to the text again and you can make your choices. 我的爱好是运动。从上小学开始，我每天都跟爸爸去运动。现在我篮球打得很好，足球踢得也不错，游泳游得也很快。我一有时间就去运动。Okay, let's see. So 陈天中非常喜欢运动, right? What is 非常? Very, right? So he very likes to play sport, to do sports, right? 我的爱好是运动。爱好, a new word we will learn in this lesson. It means my hobby. So he likes to do sports very much. So it's correct, right? And then second one, 陈天中游泳游得不快, not fast. Let's see. 游泳游得也很快, very fast. So it's false. We choose right, true or and false. Okay. And then let's see, we have only two, really easy. 爱好开始 Okay, let's see. 爱好 hobby, right? Hobby. It can be both noun or verb. So the example in the original text here is the noun version, right? 我的爱好 my hobby is sports. 我的爱好 Or you can also say 我爱好运动 So here you're using the verb version. 我爱好运动 It means I like to do sports. Right? Okay, let's change it back. 我的爱好是运动 Okay. You can also say, what if you want to change it into the verb version? How do you say? 我 Just delete the and 是我爱好踢足球 Okay. Next one, 开始 it means the start, the beginning, or it can also be a verb. To start, to begin, right? 他每天9点开始工作. He starts to work every day at 9. Nice. He starts to do. 从今天开始, starting from today, I will learn how to swim. Starting from today. What about if we use it into a noun? For example, you can say 一天的开始是早晨 How do we understand this one? 一天的开始是早晨 The beginning or the start of a day is the morning, right? 开始 So I always say that remember words in a pair. So now you know start. What about the end? The end. 结束 Just for your reference, right? If you are interested, you can also try to memorize this one. 结束 the end. The end. Okay, and then let's see. After you learn the whole lesson, let's choose the correct answer based on what you have understood. So, 陈天中篮球打得怎么样 A 很好 B 不好 C 还可以 Second one, 陈天中一有时间就做什么 right? 一有时间就 Once he got time, he immediately, right? Remember this structure? A 运动 B 休息 C 跟爸爸出去 So first one, we know that he plays basketball very well, right? 很好 We choose A very well. And then 一有时间他就 Which one? A, right? 运动 Because yes, so see here C 跟爸爸出去 We actually heard it in the text, right? But pay attention. 我每天都跟爸爸去运动 So here he goes to do sports with his dad every day, but the original sentence says 我一有时间就去运动 Right? So it should be A and A. Right? Did you get it? Okay, very good. So now last part, the 汉字 right? Please try to recognize all of these if you can, of course, and don't force yourself too much to write them right now. But if you have time, if you can try to pick maybe 5, maybe 8. The more easy ones, try to write them on a paper, right? Okay, so that is everything of today. As you know, my mission is to make this HSK Marathon project free and accessible for everyone. So if you found value in my videos and truly want to master what you've learned today, the best way is to pick up my ultimate HSK Companion Workbook. I've designed it following 4 scientifically efficient steps: active recall for vocabularies, formula blocks for grammar, a smart writing section to break down characters for you, and most importantly, high quality practice questions with detailed explanations to give you instant breakthrough. Grab your copy from the description below. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next lesson.